Whether or not on WHAS 11 Plus is sponsored by Big O Tires.
Hi there, and welcome to yet another episode of Whether or Not, sponsored by Big O Tires. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, joined by meteorologists Matt Willoughby and Austin Evans. Thanks for joining us for yet another week. And I think it goes without saying what our one big thing is this week, huh?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's coming.
What's happening, right?
I think.
Has there been any kind of noise on social media?
Maybe just a little
A little bit, yes.
Something about margaritas and ice.
And
that's
ice.
the only good place for them.
Yeah, so it goes without saying that obviously our one big thing is the winter storm that's taking aim not only in Kentuckiana this weekend, but a good chunk of the country. And we'll show you that scope in just a moment. But we've been having these weather impact alerts in place for Saturday and Sunday all week, January 24th and 25th. We are expecting accumulating snowfall. Heavy snowfall for many of us, significant snowfall amounts, and we could even see some icy conditions in our southernmost counties. We'll talk a little bit more about that. That will obviously lead to poor travel. Very cold temperatures locking all of that snow, ice, sleet in place. So as we've been mentioning, have plans to stay indoors.
Yeah.
If you don't have anywhere you need to go, just have a chill weekend.
Yeah, watch
know?
some movies, enjoy, the snow outside your window, because that's pretty much all you'll probably need to do, especially for this weekend.
And to be honest, if you had plans and really, you're going to need to cancel them.
Yes.
There, outside of absolutely life-altering things that you need to do, even those are probably going to get canceled. They tend to in situations like this. So, yeah, just take it easy this weekend.
Yeah, very impactful storm. As we mentioned, huge scope of it. You can see it stretching from New Mexico all the way over to the East Coast.
That's a lot of blue.
These are winter storm watches in the light blue, winter storm warnings now in that deep blue. We have an ice storm warning that you're seeing in that purplish color here, or that pink magenta. You see that south of Memphis.
Yeah.
So that's where there's an ice storm warning in place. And then just north of there, I know these are similar blues on this particular color table, but that's extreme cold off to our north. So I know I have a fellow WKU alum who's up in Minneapolis talking about these wind chills of 40 below, 50 below zero. So
Yeah, but he loves the winter.
right, yeah, it's a little bit different, right? But we are going to have this cold air really locked in place. So we have an Arctic high that's going to drop our temperatures, it looks like, Friday afternoon and evening. Overnight lows Friday night could be in the single digits for some. And that's the cold air we have in place as this winter storm comes tracking across the country. So as we mentioned, whatever falls is going to stick, and it's going to create some issues.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week of, temperatures by, Friday into Saturday already going to be well below freezing. So you talked about it's going to stick immediately. Any precipitation that does fall, those ground temperatures are going to be well below freezing probably by the Saturday and Sunday mark.
And it's not going to go away.
No.
It's not going to go away for a good long time. We discussed it during our stream earlier. During the day, maybe Monday, Tuesday with some sunshine, we might see some melting on the roadways just because of that direct sun exposure. But maybe some drying depending on the wind situation, but any liquid is going to freeze Monday night, Tuesday night, probably even Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to be something that goes away anytime soon.
It's not going to magically go away, unfortunately. No. So it's going to fall. It's going to stick. The setup, as we mentioned, that Arctic high from the north, and then we have moisture that's streaming in not only from the Pacific, because that's where this storm is originating, but also you tap into some of that Gulf moisture as well. And that's why this is looking so significant, because a lot of times when you have an Arctic high, very cold temperatures, you're lacking the moisture. Or if you have a lot of moisture, you're just a little too warm for a big snow. But we have both of those things. So that's what's really combining.
It's the perfect setup.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a perfect setup. It's crazy to see the timing of this. Of you're getting the cold, but also you're getting kind of that Gulf moisture rolling in. That's going to give us that best chance of that snow total. So, yeah, that's the snow. Oh, wow.
I know we've been showing these models all week.
This is one model run.
This is one model run, one model.
All the typical disclaimers.
Yes. But, I mean, you know, you can't ignore when run after run shows significant snowfall. And we're talking double-digit snow. certainly looking likely. Just for anybody who's watching this delayed, of course, keep in mind we are recording this Thursday afternoon.
Yes.
So
The
forecasts
22nd.
do change. We're about 48 hours out from the onset of this event, but it is looking like we're expecting, you know, that snow to really pick up right around the Louisville area, down to maybe the parkways, and that could be where we have that cutoff where a little bit more of that sleet, that warm nose is wanting to kind of ride in a bit from the north.
Yeah, that confidence when it comes to, you know, the snow totals and ice has been increasing. And honestly, throughout each model run we've seen this past week, it's been, you know, kind of trending further and further up north to where it's kind of putting Kentuckiana into the main event of this system that's expected to roll through.
And they've consistently trended high.
Yeah.
Yes.
Though they've gotten higher, they've consistently trended really high, especially for this area. It's easy to point and laugh at the outlier that wants to do a foot when everyone else wants to do, you know, 4 to 6. But they've all been pretty deep in the double digits for a large portion of this forecasting period. So that just adds to the confidence. There's a reason why a warning has been issued now from the National Weather Service this far out. And they typically are keeping an eye on these things this far out, but they just went ahead and went with it.
Right. Yes, they did. And I think that's a very good call. What you're seeing on your screen here, this is once again one model output of ice accumulation. I want to let you know that some of that will be sleet, probably closer to the parkways, concerned about freezing rain, potentially far southern Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky, where that warm nose just continues to nudge northward. And that's your reminder that just because temperatures at the surface might be 32 degrees, that's not the case all throughout the atmosphere. So even though we're going to be very, very cold at the surface, what happens above our heads, that impacts what reaches the ground. So that's how you can see sleet or freezing rain, different kinds of wintry precipitation there. So those are all things that we have to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And sometimes, you know, that freezing rain and sleet can actually be more dangerous than the snow. I talked about this a little bit today about you kind of can sometimes get a little bit more friction, more grip on snow than a solid sheet of ice in freezing rain or in sleet.
It's been a long time, if ever, I have slipped on snow. Ice, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can see here the types of precipitation. We discussed this earlier during our stream as well. Obviously, rain is pretty self-explanatory, as is snow. That means the entire column is either above or below freezing, and that's how you get either one of those types. With freezing rain, that's when the surface is colder than the air above it, and that water freezes on contact. Sleet, you get that colder air just a little bit higher, it freezes on the way down.
Yeah, so these are all things that we're looking at with our forecast. Of course, we'll continue to have updates throughout our newscast this week. We're doing a lot of streaming as well each night. I have a stream at 7:30. You all have been doing a stream at 10:30 in the morning. So just stay updated, stay safe, stay warm this weekend. We'll make it through.
Yes.
We've made through other historic snowstorms, and that's really a good transition to what we're going to talk about next. So we have two things to talk about in terms of this week in weather history. So last week we talked about January of '94. That's one of those storms that people just talk about a lot around here because it was very significant. But this week we want to talk about January of 1978 because that one was very significant as well, and it still holds the record of where we're seeing the greatest amounts of snow depth for our area. So take a look at this graphic. Greatest snow depth on record, 18 inches. Now that does not mean what fell over an entire period because we've actually had a snowstorm with 22 inches of snowfall over about 3 days. But I guess that snow depth just didn't maintain that high. But, you know, that's 1.5 feet of snowfall on the ground. And that was between January 20th to the 21st of 1978. And from what I've heard, I obviously wasn't around in the 70s.
Not yet, yeah.
But a lot of snow drifts, you know, some big snow drifts. We had gusty winds. We had several small snows early on in January, and then a big snow that swung through on the 16th and the 17th of the month that created that big snow depth. And we can take a look at that map on Max 1 showing the big snowstorm between the 16th and the 17th. So Louisville, I believe this was one of our 15.7 inch snowfalls in terms of a snowstorm there. So this was another one of those months where temperatures just stayed cold. So this fell to the ground, it stuck around. There was a blizzard in 78. And even though we didn't get a ton of snow here, it was more so up in the Great Lakes, the Midwest. We got maybe a couple of additional inches during that blizzard, but you're still talking 40-mile-per-hour wind gust with still, 10 plus inches of snowfall on the ground.
Yeah.
So I think that creates a ground blizzard. I think that's what that's
I
called.
guess you can call that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blizzards have weird definitions that they have to meet, otherwise it's not technically a blizzard. But you can get blowing snow and those snow drifts without those conditions.
Right.
And that's what happened here.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely a memorable time for those who lived through it. And this is another interesting fact here. So 49 days, that is the record still for Louisville, with at least 1 inch of snowfall on the ground. That took us through February 26th of 1978. So that's more than a month and a half.
That's leftover snow from a snow event.
Yeah, so basically we had at least 1 inch on the ground, from, I would guess, I'm trying to do math here, mid-January through much of February.
I will say one of my biggest things I hate more is, or at least don't hate more, is walking on snow. It's the worst. I hate it because it's like my feet get so cold. Like I have good shoes, but like it's just the worst walking on snow. And I was like, I'm so glad once a parking lot is clear because then I don't have to walk on it.
Like
anymore.
When snow sticks
it.
around, is what going to
Yeah.
happen
It gets
this
annoying.
weekend. That's when because it's going to fall and it's going to be really pretty and fluffy and
At
fun
first.
at first, and then I give it about 12 hours. It's going to become it's going to become hard and dry, and
You'll see the parking lots, big
See,
blobs
Those
of
giant mountains that take months to melt.
that'll stick around until May.
Yeah.
We'll be talking Derby, and those snow mountains will still be here.
Yeah, that's rough. Oh, we have video here from 1978, it looks like. So, yes, major
He's cold.
snowstorm here in Kentuckiana. I mean, if you can just imagine, because we talked about how rough 94 was. And how that's when we started to change how we did snow removal here in Louisville. I mean, 1978 must have been so much worse.
And this is
People-
pre-Worldport, obviously.
I mean,
Action 11.
Look at,
Yeah.
it's the wind. It's the wind.
It's always the wind.
The wind chill, the visibility. Ugh.
So many vehicles back then were rear wheel drive. A
that's
lot
not
of
good
them with giant unnecessary V8s in them,
Yes.
just spinning the wheels, no traction control.
Rough.
Driving in snow today in 2026 is still a rather difficult thing, but without
back
the
then.
technology we have now, it was nearly impossible, even with the bigger trucks. And if you had like a Jeep or something, you were probably fine. But
Yeah.
no travel back then.
We're
either.
better equipped these
Yes.
days. So we're going to switch from snow for a bit to flooding, because there was a year in January where we didn't receive any snowfall. We actually just received a ton of rain. And this is, if you go on the National Weather Service site, this is the top weather event in Louisville's history. And that is the Great Flood of 1937. So here's some of the specifics. 15 inches of rain fell in 12 days, from January 13th to the 24th.
Over an inch a day.
19 inches for the entire month, no snow. 70% of Louisville was submerged. These were all facts that I got from the National Weather Service office here in Louisville. So obviously very, very impactful. Now, in terms of where we saw, the rivers rising, take a look at this. This is the Ohio River crest. So McAlpine Upper is what we measured last year. I know there's a lot on this map here, but where we measured last year, 2025. So 36 feet.
Wow.
That was the major flooding that we had here in Louisville last April.
And I've seen the videos.
That's what canceled Thunder.
Yeah.
That's what did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you notice the 37 measurement,
Yeah, 52 feet.
that is, and the
almost
37 measurement's got 10 feet, not inches, feet above second place.
So, I mean,
do we have a city of Louisville at 52 feet?
I mean, like I said, 70% of the city was submerged.
Oh, wow.
Some other facts, 175,000 residents had to flee. 90% of Jeffersonville, Indiana was flooded. And one source estimated that the damage, if it was in today's dollars, $3.3 billion.
Man, that's devastating flooding where, you see, 3.3, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how far, I would love to see on a map. Yeah, it would be nigh impossible to actually draw this these days. And I assume some overhead images exist, but it'd be hard to decipher too. I'd like to see how far into the city that water line went.
Well,
Did it reach this station?
There was I'm not sure if it did or not, but there was a couple of snow maps out there.
I think it made it to Broadway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that it did because when you're at the Brown Hotel, there's a whole thing about where the water hit in the hotel.
And the
Brown is like 4th and Broadway.
That's farther away from the water,
right
isn't
there.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matthew, you found these photos. These are also from the National Weather Service website here, and these show. I mean, this is from 1937. Some aerial views. Thankfully, this is from the Lane collection. Of just the devastating flooding in 37. I mean, this was the flood to end all floods. This was the one that the city was like, all right, we need flood walls.
Figure it out.
We've got to figure this out because 175,000 residents were displaced here. So we do also have a soundbite from the National Weather Service, so let's take a listen.
It was the Great Flood of 1937. That's still kind of the benchmark flood for history here in Louisville. And it was so high and so bad, the flood waters, that this picture here from 1937, there was an actual horse that was caught up in the trees from the flood waters. And it's amazing those trees could even support the weight of that animal, but yeah, and all the people there took pictures, with it. But yeah, severe flooding that happened there.
I mean, that's hard to wrap your mind around. I know you all weren't here in April yet, but the flooding that we had last year was very significant. You could see it around River Road. If you're driving down 71, I mean, the waters near Mockingbird were just super elevated. You couldn't get down to the riverside. Waterfront Park was completely flooded, which is what it was built for. But still, I mean, and those levels were so much lower than 37.
Yeah. So. I can only imagine, I think it was at 36, but 52, can you imagine, just all of that water, just the powerfulness of water just flowing into the city.
Really the only word to describe it is apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to say that type of flooding. And hopefully we don't see something like that again forever.
So that was our second this week in weather history for a good reason. Of course, that lasted into February as well. I'm sure the cleanup took a very, very long time.
Yes.
But we're going to switch things back to snow yet again
for
our viral weather video of the week. And this one is out of Russia. Take a look at this. The biggest snowfall in 60 years on Russia's far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula created vast drifts several meters tall that blocked building entrances, buried cars. And I mean, some of this video is just impressive. Take a look at these locals walking through the snow drifts, along the traffic lights.
Wow. They're just moving on.
I mean, it's like life is going on as normal, right?
Normal.
I saw something about more than 6.5 feet of snow.
No.
Where
no, thank
January.
you.
I'm unfamiliar.
No, thank you.
Where is this peninsula? Is it in the north?
I think it's northeast.
Yeah, that's.
But I mean, hundreds of thousands of people live there. It's not like one of those, like,
small towns,
very isolated. Like, the people are just going on with their days.
That is where conditions like this are relatively normal, even if this is a record.
Yeah.
They still get
the
that
buses,
cold.
the cars.
I mean, the
like,
cafe
we
is
got
completely submerged in snow. Yeah, I think there was a video early on. Yeah, that's wild to see snow up almost to the roof of that cafe.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And here we are worried about a foot. Come on. Look at what they got.
Yeah.
Looks like they got the roads clear, though.
I think I saw one car that was completely buried in the snow.
Well, 6.5 feet.
Yeah.
Let me knock
Or
the
bury
snow
the
off
snow.
this road sign.
That's about your height, right?
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly.
That's a
Yeah,
whole Matthew of
about-
snow.
I can't imagine snow up to my head burying myself. So yeah, I think I'd stay here instead of going to Russia.
But
to
we
see
had
that
this in
much
one of our
snow.
newscasts this week, so I was like, this has got to be the viral weather
Yes.
video. And also my father-in-law sent it to me. At first, I saw some different videos, and I was like, this has got to be AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, this cannot be correct. But obviously it was. So
Yeah.
6.5 feet
Wow.
of snowfall. But we're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor. We will be right back with weather trivia and much more. Stay tuned.
One more reason for Big O.
Big O Tires has more than 460 locations nationwide. We feel everyone in our community deserves legendary care. Big O is the team you trust.
At Big O, that now is no problem at all.
Right now, get $80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock tires with installation purchase, plus 0 interest if paid in full within 12 or 6 months.
Big O Tires, the team you trust.
And welcome back to Weather or Not, sponsored by Big O Tires. It's now for our weekly weather trivia segment with meteorologist Matt Breland.
Hey, thank you for watching this episode of Weather or Not. I'm meteorologist Matt Breland, and you're just in time for this segment of Weather Trivia. So throughout the past few days, with this upcoming winter storm in the forecast for this weekend, we're seeing a lot of words like sleet, freezing rain, snow, rain. So I'm going to talk about what these types of precipitation are. So this is something that we've built to show you exactly what we're expecting across various areas across Kentuckiana for this upcoming weekend. We do have rain showers that, of course, are going to not be in our forecast. This is not going to be a part of it. This is going to be a mostly snowy setup. But, of course, rain showers happen anytime we have temperatures above freezing from the ground all the way to the clouds. That's what makes rain showers. Freezing rain is a very dangerous type of precipitation because it makes such slick spots. That's where the area just above the surface is 32 degrees or below, but right above that area of freezing air is warmer than freezing air, which allows those rain showers to pass through that area of freezing temperatures, but as soon as it hits the surface, it immediately freezes. So that causes lots of slick spots. Whenever that area of freezing air is a little bit deeper, the rain showers start to freeze and return back to ice pellets. So that's pretty much what sleet is just frozen pellets that happen to accumulate on the ground. So that can cause slick spots too. And of course, snow, it just occurs whenever you have temperatures that are 32 degrees or lower, all the way from the clouds to the ground. But sleet and freezing rain can definitely cause some big travel issues, especially on the roads. That's why we're saying avoid travel if you can this weekend, because black ice will be a possibility. For some of our southernmost counties, that's where we're expecting some of that sleet, freezing rain threat to be. So we're continuing to monitor those conditions, but that's a look at precipitation types. I'm meteorologist Matt Breland. Stay up to date with us here on WHAS.
All right, thank you, Matt. That was a good deeper dive of something that we
Yes.
were already talking about a little bit earlier in the newscast, because that atmospheric profile makes all the difference.
All gonna matter.
But now it's time for our viewer photo of the week with Austin.
All right, so we are looking at a photo of the Aurora Borealis sent in by Nicole. This is sent to our Kentucky, Indiana Cloud Watchers Facebook group. And this is just a lovely shot. And we could see the Northern Lights a couple nights ago. I'm sure all three of us would have gotten outside and looked at them if we weren't too busy forecasting this weekend winter
Lot of
storm.
busy weather this week.
But a lovely shot here. Picked it because of how pretty it is. Give us something a little bit less snowy to talk about. Good job on that photo. And as always, if you would like to send us photos, you can send them to us via our Kentucky, Indiana Cloud Watchers Facebook group. It's an open group, just a request to be added, or you can text us to that number or email us to that email, and they may get shown on here. But for the record, I love looking at all of your photos on that Facebook group. I take a look at it at least once a day while I'm here, and a lot of you are really, really talented.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. But as you mentioned, yeah, the Northern Lights, I remember I was talking to John Gordon, actually. I guess that was Monday night.
Yeah.
There was so much going on with the snow, and he was like, oh, I also heard we're in a G4 storm.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, let me check the space weather dashboard. dashboard. And I was like, yep.
All right.
And it's just
There
like,
you go.
It was like, it's my off evening, and so I just completely check out of everything, and it's just, it passed us by, and now we're too busy.
Yeah, but hopefully some of you all were able to catch that as we're still in that solar maximum with the solar cycle.
Yes.
So we're going to round things out with a visit to the National Weather Service.
Yes, it was my actually first time at a National Weather Service anywhere around the country. So it was a very fun time getting to the National Weather Service, getting a tour of the building and everything they do, especially to keep many areas across the country safe.
Yeah, so let's take a look here.
We are here at the National Weather Service for Louisville, giving you an in-depth, exclusive look on what they do during the daily operations in order to keep people safe across Kentuckiana. While many people wake up, check their phones for the forecasts, meteorologists here at the National Weather Service Louisville have already been working for hours, analyzing data, monitoring the weather ahead, and preparing for whatever the day may bring.
So you can see there's lots of screens back here for us to look at. You're looking at satellites, you're looking at radar, you're looking at the previous forecast, all the forecast models, which are basically math equations, taking in all the data and spitting out what it thinks is going to happen for you.
Inside the office, Warning Coordinator Meteorologist Mike Kochasik says every person has a role, from forecasting daily conditions to monitoring storms and communicating directly with emergency managers, even news outlets like WHAS 11.
So typically base staffing is 2 people on at a given time, and then if the situation calls for it, we have bigger weather going on, then we call in more bodies. Some of the most dedicated people are sitting behind me.
Forecasting weather in Kentuckiana isn't always straightforward. To the National Weather Service, it's more than just spitting out numbers.
The weather's wild and it changes quickly, and a lot of times the guidances that you have doesn't necessarily depict what's going on outside the window. Look at the Ohio Valley. Things change so rapidly. Snow, tornadoes, rain, sometimes all in the same day, and sunshine, and 80, so it keeps you on your toes, but we have a lot of good experience behind us here working at the office 24/7.
And when warnings are issued,
it's serious. We see a high confidence that this is either imminent or or is happening already, I should say. And so when you get the warning, don't ignore it and take action.
Kochasik says while the weather can be fun, it can also be very dangerous. So it's important to take it seriously.
People get seriously hurt or killed. So respect Mother Nature, respect the power of lightning, wind, flooding, tornadoes. Don't put yourself in harm's way.
At the National Weather Service in Louisville, every forecast has one goal: keeping Kentuckiana safe.
Yes, very important information there. We love our partnership with the National Weather Service office here in Louisville. They do very, very important work.
It would be very difficult for us to do our jobs here without them doing their jobs there. I am nowhere near qualified to issue a warning on anything except maybe a tornado warning. I think I could maybe do that, maybe.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely do a lot of great work, and they work around the clock. Like he told me,
Staff 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. They staff 24/7, and they're always there, especially during the bigger events like we're expected to see. They'll be all hands on deck helping around too. But they also mentioned that why they work so closely with us is because we're the ones that are able to broadcast out. They're limited when it comes to broadcasting, so that's why we work so closely with them to get that information out and get the proper information out in order to keep people safe.
Yes. So that about does it, guys.
Yes.
All right.
It's a busy week in the weather.
It is a busy week. Yeah, we have more snow crunching to do.
Yay.
We have some weather maps to kind of tweak a little bit. But all in all, expect a significant winter storm this weekend. Snow for many of us, but we could have a wintry mix to the south. Stay tuned to the forecast because things will continue to change and be tweaked. But we want everybody to stay safe and stay warm. And thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you back here next time.